Marzano+Causal+Teacher+Evaluation Model. Based on the art and science of teaching. Beth Carr, Director of District Partnerships, who is Learning Sciences International. Experts in the field of teacher and principal growth, development and evaluation. Statewide provider of teacher evaluation technical assistance for the Florida Department of Education. Partners with Dr. Robert Marzano, ASCD, and Charlotte Danielson, and Dr. Douglas Reeves. Implementations with districts in 38 states. Providers of professional development, observer training, and observation growth, development and evaluation data systems. Copyright 2010 Learning Sciences International. The Widget Effect, 2009. Districts using binary ratings for teacher evaluation. More than 99% of teachers receive satisfactory ratings in districts using binary ratings, satisfactory/unsatisfactory. Districts using binary ratings for teacher evaluation. 94% of teachers receive one of the top two ratings. Less than 1% are rated unsatisfactory. Inflation of ratings is pervasive in many district evaluation systems. Question: how can we expect teachers to improve when their instructional performance is neither differentiated nor accurately rated? Reports like these that show teachers do not have accurate evaluations that pinpoint where they need to improve and then measure and support improvement have precipitated the teacher evaluation reform movement. What percentage of your teachers were rated in the top two ratings versus unsatisfactory? This may be less of a symptom of the framework than of inflation among the raters. Questions: when most all teachers are rated the same, do we honor great teachers? How can we expect teachers to improve when their instructional performance is not differentiated nor accurately rated? The importance of effective teaching and leadership. Research tells us that the role of the teacher is the single greatest factor on student learning. Sanders, et al. Research also tells that one of the greatest factors central office can contribute is to maintain a singular focus on improving instruction. Marzano and Waters, 2009. Why do we need to change? What is the purpose of teacher evaluation? To rate teachers? Or to raise student achievement? Teacher evaluation reform. Student achievement/growth and instructional practice. Teacher evaluation reform sweeping the state legislatures is requiring student growth/achievement as a component of the overall teacher evaluation. No longer is it good enough to simply rate teachers, the ratings must be accurate to effectiveness. High rating on instruction will not correlate to a low student growth score. Purposes of teacher evaluation. Formative/growth. Summative/evaluation. Formative evaluation consists of evaluation practices meant to shape, form, or improve teachers' performances. The basis of this is accurate, timely and specific feedback on use of instructional strategies. In contrast, summative evaluation, as the term implies, has as its aim the development and use of data to inform summative judgments of teachers' performance. Both of these processes are based on the sources of evidence in a common language of instruction. Here's what we know. Student achievement will not improve unless teaching improves. Teachers working alone without feedback will find it difficult to be able to improve no matter how much professional development they receive. The challenge of teacher evaluation is to create a system of continuous improvement of instruction, professional development, and feedback. Supervision needs to be frequent and focused on the improvement of instruction within a common language of instruction. Feedback must be timely, specific, and meaningful. Therefore, the evaluation model must emphasize instruction and provide clear guidance not just on performance, but how to improve. Why do teacher evaluation differently? What is the goal? Marzano-Causal Teacher Evaluation Model. The goal an expectation that all teachers can increase their expertise from year to year, which produces gains in students' achievement from year to year with a powerful cumulative effect. Marzano+Causal+Teacher+Evaluation Model. 4 domains describing levels of teaching performance. 60 elements. Validation studies. Correlational. Correctly identifies teachers' performance levels. Effect size studies for strategies within the framework. Framework 4 domains, 60 elements, emphasis on instruction. Marzano-Causal model. 4 domains, 60 elements. Emphasis on instruction. 41 elements in classroom strategies and behaviors, 68%. Research indications of higher levels of observer accuracy due to specificity. Greater clarity for a common language of instruction. Teachers are empowered. Transparent processes. More formative feedback. Continuous growth. Why is an emphasis on instruction important in teacher evaluation? Causal link to raising students' achievement. In the new era of teacher evaluation, it is no longer okay just to rate teachers' performance. The model must help teachers get better in order to raise students' achievement. Traditional evaluation model. The responsibility is disproportionately on the principal with a more passive role of the teacher. Principal in traditional is compliance-oriented, usually one summative observation and little formative feedback. Principal in causal empowers teachers, setting up the conditions for formative feedback, deliberate practice, monitoring and supporting incremental improvements in expertise every year, monitors key non-negotiables such as self-assessment for reflection, professional growth plan with monitoring, celebrates progress toward expertise for every teacher, has teachers share what is working and why, sets up opportunities for deliberate practice, sharing, mentoring, etc. Teacher in causal practice moves from private to more transparent. Weaknesses are seen as opportunities for growth. Teacher is empowered as a professional for their own growth and development. Teacher engagement and ownership is the hallmark of causal system, moves from ambiguous to clarity of the common language of instruction with clear goals for improvement, etc. Students. In causal, student learning increases is the true metric. Student evidences from responses and behaviors in the classroom to interview answers indicate how well the teaching/learning process is working. Data, recognizing in a causal model that student data is a lagging indicator and teacher behavior is a leading indicator, and deliberate practice comes even before teacher behavior changes. Marzano-Causal model, research-based strategies. Developmental continuum for teachers to implement research-based strategies. Specific guidance for teachers to improve instruction. Evidences of sufficient implementation to raise student learning. Guidance on the appropriate instructional context, when to use each strategy to have the highest probability to raise student learning. Marzano's framework is more detailed, specific, and helps the teachers to understand what to do in order to improve their teaching sufficiently to show gains in students' achievement. Marzano, element evidences. The teacher provides a clearly stated learning goal accompanied by scale or rubric that describes levels of performance relative to the learning goal. Teacher evidence. Teacher has a learning goal posted so that all students can see it. The learning goal is a clear statement of knowledge or information as opposed to an activity or assignment. Teacher makes reference to the learning goal throughout the lesson. Teacher has a scale or rubric that relates to the learning goal posted so that all students can see it. Teacher makes reference to the scale or rubric throughout the lesson. Student evidence. When asked, students can explain the learning goal for the lesson. When asked, students can explain how their current activities relate to the learning goal. When asked, students can explain the meaning of the levels of performance articulated in the scale or rubric. Developmental continuum. Marzano, element scale. Marzano-Causal model, research-based strategies. Effective teacher equals students' achievement. Use of research-based strategies to achieve student learning results. Effective principal equals effective teachers. Students' achievement learning results are lagging indicators. Teacher and student behavior is a leading indicator. Effective use of research-based instructional strategies. Marzano model causal links. What is the leading indicator of students' achievement? Teachers' classroom behaviors. What is the leading indicator of teachers' classroom behaviors? Deliberate practice. What is deliberate practice? Where teachers focus on specific strategies, 1 to 3, each year within a growth plan and engage in focused practice with focused feedback while monitoring their implementation progress through evidences identified in research. Deliberate practice. Focus on thin slices. Self-assess and identify areas of weakness. Select focus area for improvement. Determine current level of performance in focus area. Set time-bound goal for increasing performance. Seek mentors and feedback in area in which they are working. Constantly monitor progress. Deliberate practice. Feedback that is focused on specific classroom strategies and behaviors during a set time interval. Practice that is focused on a limited number of strategies where corrections, modifications, and adaptations are made to improve student learning. Every teacher improves every year on a focused set of strategies. Teacher expertise develops over time. Teachers raise students' achievement through the skillful use of research-based strategies. Teachers develop expertise through engaging in deliberate practice with focused practice and focused feedback. Marzano's model is granular enough with thin slices of instruction to support deliberate practice. Traditional versus causal roles. Principal. Teacher. Student. Data. Traditional system of evaluation. Causal model of evaluation. Shared responsibility with teacher. Empowers teachers to contribute to their own evaluation. Traditional evaluation model. The responsibility is disproportionately on the principal with a more passive role of the teacher. Principal in traditional is compliance-oriented, usually one summative observation and little formative feedback. Principal in causal empowers teachers setting up the conditions for formative feedback, deliberate practice, monitoring and supporting incremental improvements in expertise every year. Monitors key non-negotiables such as self-assessment for reflection, professional growth plan with monitoring, celebrates progress toward expertise for every teacher, has teachers share what is working and why, sets up opportunities for deliberate practice, sharing, mentoring, etc. Teacher in causal practice moves from private to more transparent. Weaknesses are seen as opportunities for growth. Teacher is empowered as a professional for their own growth and development. Teacher engagement and ownership is the hallmark of causal system, moves from ambiguous to clarity of the common language of instruction with clear goals for improvement, etc. Students, in causal student learning increases is the true metric. Student evidences from responses and behaviors in the classroom to interview answers indicate how well the teaching/learning process is working. Data, recognizing in a causal model that student data is a lagging indicator and teacher behavior is a leading indicator, and deliberate practice comes even before teacher behavior changes. Marzano+Causal+Teacher+Evaluation+Model. The primary emphasis of supervision is to raise students' achievement through the effective implementation of research-based instructional strategies. Marzano+Causal+Teacher+Evaluation+Model. When these strategies are used, here is the typical effect on raising students' achievement: percentile gain corrected. Note-taking. 17%. Practice. 14%. Setting goals/objectives. 25%. Student discussion/chunking. Summarizing. 19%. Tracking student progress and using scoring scales. 34%. Building vocabulary. 20%. Effort and recognition. 14%. Graphic organizers. 13%. Homework. 15%. Identifying similarities and differences. Interactive games. Non-linguistic representations. 17%. Examples of impacts on raising student learning. Teachers focus on a small number every year with focused feedback and focused practice. Validation studies include both correlational, framework accurately identifies teachers' level of performance, and on the elements within the framework. Research-based strategies. Research-based strategies have a high probability of raising students' achievement if they are used in the part, segment, or type of lesson that is appropriate for the strategy, at the appropriate level of implementation. Only Dr. Marzano's evaluation model includes this in the model. Identifies the instructional context for use of specific strategies. Identifies the level of implementation for each strategy sufficient to raise students' achievement. Remember, the purpose of the evaluation model is to help teachers improve their classroom instruction with specific guidance in order to raise students' achievement. Are your teachers using these strategies at a sufficient level of implementation to raise student achievement? Using the appropriate strategies for different types of lessons or parts of a lesson. Common language/model of instruction. Why is a common language/model of instruction critical for developing effective teachers? Definition of effective teaching. So every leader and every teacher knows what effective teaching looks and sounds like. Accuracy and inter-rater reliability for supervisors, teacher leaders, coaches, and teachers. Ability to provide professional development rigorously aligned to the model of instruction and measure progress in improving teacher practice. Consistency for data collection to measure progress across classrooms, schools and districts. Common language/model of instruction must accurately reflect the complexity and sophistication of the teaching/learning process. Identify the key strategies revealed by research for effective teaching within a framework of instruction. Identify which research-based strategies are appropriate for different types of lessons or lesson segments. Include rubrics with a clearly defined continuums of implementation and evidences sufficient to impact student learning. Be flexible to allow districts to adapt and adopt the model to reflect local needs and priorities yet retain the common language. Common language of instruction aligns misaligned systems. No common language or model of instruction. Common language or model of instruction. Marzano+Causal+Teacher+Evaluation+Model. Students' achievement. Domain 1, Classroom Strategies and Behaviors, 41 elements. Routine segments, 5 elements. Content segments, 18 elements. On-the-spot segments, 18 elements. Domain 4, Collegiality and Professionalism, 6 elements. Promoting a positive environment, 2 elements. Promoting exchange of ideas, 2 elements. Promoting district and school development, 2 elements. Domain 4, Collegiality and Professionalism, 6 elements. Promoting a positive environment, 2 elements. Promoting exchange of ideas, 2 elements. Promoting district and school development, 2 elements. Domain 2, Planning and Preparing, 8 elements. Lesson and Units, 3 elements. Use of Materials and Technology, 2 elements. Special Needs of Students, 3 elements. Facilitator Notes, a framework or common language is key to improving instruction. The next 3 graphics provides a graphic representation of the model and can be used as part of your submission to describe your model. If you are not using this model, you will want to consider a graphic representation or narrative that describes the model you are intending to use. For those individuals who will use Danielson, we have also included a graphic for your use. If you are using a hybrid of modules that are research-based, you may want to consider composing a graphic that will communicate your framework. Refresher from Academy, previously a pyramid, represents research that shows where the most impact occurs with students' achievement equals Domain 1. Domain 3, Reflecting on teaching, 5 elements. Evaluating personal performance, 3 elements. Professional growth plan, 2 elements. Marzano teacher evaluation. From 2. Compliance-focused, annual reviews that are inflated and lack specific guidance for instructional improvement. Misaligned system without specificity in the common language of instruction. Ambiguity and subjectivity due to the lack of specificity. Lacks connections to student achievement gains. Formative and summative process that is timely, specific, and honors growth over time. Coherent research-based common language of instruction with clear and objective measures and teacher and student evidences. Clarity and consistency, from the newest teacher to the most veteran practitioners, and supports accuracy for observers. Causal links to raising student achievement.